team.
Absolutely. We heard him coming in. It would be more than an embarrassment for Jensen to lose this game to his former teammate and kind of mentor in the mid lane position for a time being.
Yeah, this series as a whole is really delivering on more than what we could have expected. And the bans already evolving throughout the series. Camille and Cassiopeia, blue side banned by FlyQuest here. Those are two champions that Cloud9 used to much success towards the end of that first game, which gave Cloud9 their victory on the series.
So what now back on red side can Cloud9 look to do? Give themselves back some momentum or throw something new at FlyQuest?
Right, so depending on what the bans were going to be with the main OPs being out, I would love to see them go with a poke composition with Ivern. That's what I'd like to see them do. Contracts has only lost one game on Ivern so far, and I feel like they'd be very good with it, countering the FlyQuest dive that they've been so effective with.
Right.
With that being said, Contracts is undefeated in his LCS career on Kha'Zix, and he's played it 9 or 10 times, so I would be surprised if they don't just go with that, even though I'd like to stylistically see the Ivern.
There is the Kha'Zix. Switched over from Malzahar.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, not any really big choice there. We figured that would happen. Camille banned out by FlyQuest side, actually favoring that not going into the hands of Impact once again.
Yeah, Reaper taking his time here as so much hinges on this final pick and ban phase of the series. This is the expected power picks that are unbanned if they go with both of these. Oh, they switch it up to Jhin at the last second.
Fly was using that quite a bit just to start the fight, deter Cloud9 from trying to engage a siege. So they say, nope, we are going to be the ones that can open up with Curtain Call whenever we want this time. Now on the side of FlyQuest, that could be Altex.
Oh, it could very well be. It also
and
blocks.
they take the Malzahar, so it is.
This blocks the Zyra support as well, and there's still the chance they could put high in the mid lane on this because we've seen that happen over in the European LCS, but this is something that Altec in particular has had a lot of success with. Even going with the Zyra will still give them the Zyra, but the MF can kill those plants relatively quickly. It's a little harder from an AD MF instead of support MF to do that because you're trying to balance CSing with it. Love the choice there with the Misfortune.
Fortunately, they don't synergize the plants this time on Cloud9. It is the Kha'Zix we saw in the first pick. Sorry, Jap. Ivern will stay rooted this game. Ban phase 2, Cloud9, 5 seconds left. Evelyn. Actually, we kind of said Moon wouldn't see too much on that, but Cloud9 prioritized the strength he has.
Exactly. Now they throw target bans at him. Obviously, if he has been playing the Ivern, it's still possible for him as they move into more target bans. C9, highly likely to be counter-picking Jensen's mid lane with the final pick of this draft, which means FlyQuest are going to do as much as they can to just ban top laners here, as that's the expected first pick in the second pick phase for Cloud9.
Poking out that top, as well as saying, I don't want too much AoE crowd control coming in here. It'd be nice to synergize with a Zyra and a Kennen. On the side of Cloud9, looks like they focus jungle. Well, there's still quite a few to play. Maybe they'll do it again.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
Jace.
Jace being down and Corki still being available. High, I feel like, has had his best performances on Corki. That's another option that Cloud9 could take away from FlyQuest if they want to, but FlyQuest still having this last ban to lock out whatever type of power pick they think Cloud9 is going to go with early. Another top laner.
That side of Sneaky, still see the Cassiopeia on this game. Just have Jensen on that throughout game 1. We'll look for what kind of top lane they might throw in here so Jensen can see what is coming from FlyQuest.
Yeah, so this is probably the top laner. So many top lane bans already, though, with Jace being taken out. Kennen, Rumble, Camille, Shen.
Still have that Poppy we saw before, but Nautilus for Impact this time.
Just lock down success, something Cloud9 kind of struggled with getting in that last game. Shen was their sole best bit of initiation and wasn't quite able to get in. This is just point and click for Impact. Pretty good against Misfortune as well. Oh my, blind pick Zed.
Look at
for high. He's grooving right now.
He is grooving. Perfect word for it. He's ready to go in. Look, I feel like somebody just told him something. He says, that's fine.
Woo.
He is
That's confident.
going up against a deadly team. As soon as he gets in, he might just have a depth charge on him. And Moon is on board as well. as a dive buddy for these kills. Somebody gets tagged by these two, and they're going to be going down very fast.
The safe pick was up if he wanted Corki.
Yeah, exactly.
They could have just put together another long-range team fighting composition like that, but no. What does Jensen answer with here? Essentially, High throws down the gauntlet with the Z pick.
Jensen or Incarnation? I'm kidding.
Zillion?
Zillion is locked in for the mid lane. So they are going to look to deny the assassination play coming in from Fly and hope to catch them off guard on maybe some overextensions. They have the crowd control. They have a bit of re-engage. C9's team comp does work.
Wow.
Very interesting, though.
Well, that's a little bit of spice for the end of this series. I love it. The Zillion against Zed can be very effective if the Zillion gets ahead. Obviously, you can just ult yourself or whoever's targeting to bring him back from Deathmark. But aside from that, you can also throw the bombs on wherever the Deathmark retreat path or the Shadow is going to be going to really limit the mobility of the Zed overall. And with High actually going Ignite on Zed instead of something like Cleanse, being able to double bomb stun and then had more lockdown just adds to how risky this pick could be for High.
Absolutely awesome. Not sure that maybe Zed was, but I don't know if Zillion was uttered in the preparation for this game to come in for Cloud9 and FlyQuest.
Really waiting for Jensen Zillion to make its appearance.
Can't wait for game 3. But they are going to put it in here as what Reaper thinks is going to be a key factor in this composition, as on red side, Jensen was given what he felt was a counter, or rather safe pick into this matchup. He is, however, countering the assassin that Zed, or I should say High, has picked up in Zed. We're going into game 3, Fly versus C9, hashtag Fly win. Hashtag C9 win. And will this be the chance for FlyQuest to take down Cloud9, or will Cloud9 stay undefeated in the LCS?
Now, Zed has always been one of High's best champions. He played it to so much success in 2013 and 2014, but since then, really hasn't gotten his shake in the mid lane. People told him he was washed up, he was moved around to jungle, support, didn't have the mechanics for mid lane, but as far as mid lane mechanics, Zed requires a lot of them, and High has always been good on this champion. However, blind picking it, incredibly dangerous, especially against a mid laner as good as Jensen, who has lined up Zillion as his counter. And I can't wait to see this happen in the deciding game of the series.
Well, they definitely try to test each other. One to get clapped, one fool to get bodied. Which will happen first?
It's really close. Who's saying more FlyQuest or Cloud9? I heard a little bit more FlyQuest in that one, but the crowd definitely into this. And it's interesting because so many C9 fans are also FlyQuest fans because they share so much history. So it's gotta be gut-wrenching to try and pick a side.
It's a love-hate relationship with yourself, basically. Not anything else. Elimination hovering on the side. I'm gonna pop this plant. Oh, really? Altec moves in. Exhaust immediately blows the flash. That's what they were looking for. The time win there on summoner spells in favor of FlyQuest.
Yeah, you have to back away from the Voidlings in a level 1 trade. If you ever get the angle on someone, you're going to get the flash, and that's what Smoothie has lost right there. But obviously, exhaust being down isn't a total loss. Cooldown on the exhaust will be a little bit faster, but if they do go for an all-in, you'd rather have the exhaust than the flash. Whew.
Nice shot onto Sneaky. They're going to keep this lane not healthy. I like that. Leaves a chance for a lot of kills up here and makes everybody play very careful. It's funny, sometimes you see a lane, they'll get destroyed, and then they can farm under their turret with 100 HP forever. Just be that careful in the beginning. Why not?
Well, especially with these longsword builds these guys are going now. You have 3 health potions on the AD, often 3 health potions on the support as well. So plenty of sustain if they do tango at level 1. Cost them the potions.
A little trade back and forth. It's High. He's always going to take some bombs, having to walk up for some melees here while his shurikens are down. So we'll just see this one pan out early. A little jungler intervention maybe needed before level 6 here. And we've seen Moon has been very active on this Nidalee, able to power farm, but still have a presence in lane.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, Contract's so good at Kha'Zix thus far. A lot of things flying against each other. Winner of this game will be first place in the North American LCS through 4 weeks. Moon early gank top lane. Balls just level 2. Does he have Twisted Advance skilled? Even? Or is he just going to smack him a bunch?
Doesn't seem to look like it. There it is. He's waiting for it to come back up. Must have hit him up before. Impact gets taken down. Deja vu game number 1. Repeat gank top.
Yeah, one of the easier ganks you would see pulled off, but you have to credit the pathing by Moon right there, who started blue buff, went all the way red, and then because of the position of the lane, I gotta say, they called that many seconds in advance, can give first blood to Balls. Impact definitely not expecting that early of a gank in that spot. Doesn't even burn flash because he knew he was dead to rights.
Moon on his Nidalee. Looks like he's gonna try to keep going for it. Teleport back to lane. That's gonna be a real long walk.
Here, and he's got a level advantage. They gotta be careful.
They say, can we take it? He's gonna hit
the burst.
Marks him, but now they gotta be careful. The flash was still there for Impact, something they did consider, and we're not able to get the kill off on. Almost turned the tide of that fight for Balls.
I actually do not agree with FlyQuest going in there. If they, I believe they had seen Kazakhs in the jungle. They had the level advantage on the Kazakhs, and the flash was up on Impact. So trade flashes, maybe they feel like that's an advantage if Moon's going to spend more time up there, but incredibly dangerous.
It shouldn't be too bad for Impact. The lane is resetting for there with the cannon minion, so it should hang out for quite some time. His teleport being down could have hurt pretty bad there. The other lane's not seeing too much action just yet, and that was mainly Moon ending up on the different side than Contracts was. Really able to make something happen. That is Ball's first kill. He did have a very good Maokai game last time, so they get him going to start things off, making sure Impact can't eke out a lead with what he does in the waves.
Smoothie was still flashless, so Hai decided to try and make a roam down bottom, but he was spotted out by the ward. Always looking to make the play, and Riv, that's one thing that FlyQuest has done much better than C9, is they've been first to the play so many times.
Oof. That's just solo so far. Wow. Lemon Nation delivering that much damage. Altec trying to get there for a few, but he's just focusing minions, making it rain. Pest control, a little troublesome for C9 right now. Hai starting to getting HP advantage here in the mid lane. Moon nowhere to be found though, so it looks like this is just going to be a farm out. No kill to come from that. Exhaust was just used again. That flash is finally coming back up for Smoothie, as it was blown very early in the lane.
Yeah, exhaust used by FlyQuest to make sure they can shove it in the wave. Going to try and get that first buy. Notice Serrated Dirks coming in across the board for Hai and Altec. They're basically building exactly the same items. Also note that Jensen burned teleport early in lane to get back and keep that CS advantage onto Hai. It's also going to secure level 6 first, making it really hard for Hai to get a kill in that lane.
See if this back is any different, and that actually is not. So Health Crystal, Ruby Crystal, I should say, over to Lemon Nation. Really just a control ward for Smoothie.
Yeah, I think Moon's going to try and gank through the front door. He's hoping to just combo this with the spear and then get in front of the dredge line.
Nice timing on the dredge line, flashes forward, still trying to mark it. Sapling's gonna get the slow, but Sapling doesn't hit, he hit a minion! He hit a minion with the auto, and Impact dodges the last javelin.
Moon with the slight missed execution on that gank, and Hai actually chasing up through a ward here, so Contracts may lay in wait. Is he gonna go for this? Smoothie also roaming. Hai doesn't quite know he's spotted.
Ooh, level 6 Hai, levels he can get in and out. There's the shield on Impact, but I don't know if it would keep him alive through the engage. A lot of the team roaming up. They don't also have vision on Sneaky or Smoothie, so they got a call. One of them may also be helping this top lane. Getting a little tense for a second. Balls may be overstaying his welcome. They're just trying to see if they can get the victory here on an error.
Jensen saved him in time.
Balls could be locked down. Contracts up. They go in on Contracts. Hai's going to be using this last shadow after the flash. The timing of the shadow
he doesn't
goes out. Going for the kill. Oh, the dredge line in. Impact comes up huge within the last minute to help control this top lane.
Such a tight turn there by C9. They wanted the fight because Smoothie had roamed up there, and the exhaust catches Hai completely by surprise. Yeah. It doesn't give him enough damage to close the kill. He can't quite chase him down after the death mark. And C9 get this one. So notice, level 4 Smoothie top lane in 5 minutes. What are you doing? That exhaust is the difference.
Exactly.
And then Hai was waiting on the cooldown of his Q or just an auto attack, and Impact lands the Q right at the last second to pull Hai away, even up those kills.
He's finally just getting back down to the bot side. And only half damage on the turret. A little bit of bullet time. Looks like Altec wants some breathing room to get back, get some items in. They'll both back. So a little action towards the top side, only 1-1 after all of that. And Impact has been getting quite a bit of attention in these games from Fly. Making sure that he can't be the factor that just controls the side lane sweep. His teleports have been so good in the mid game as well.
Whoops-a-daisy, Moon. Got to shake off those jitters and land the spears. Auto attack to minion in an earlier gank on Impact. Could be 2 kills for 0 here for FlyQuest. And it has definitely been a plan, Riv, as you mentioned, for Moon and Balls to try and double team Impact in that top lane. It has been consistent and persistent in every game.
He's back up. Teleports up for him as well. Scryers bloom through the jungle, and he also gets some vision down. Now with the roam, he may just bring his teleport to a lane. They're going to back off as High retreats under his turret. A lot of members of Fly as well, clearing out what Smoothie's trying to put in the jungle. But they got to respect him. They don't know what's on the other side. I mean, he also has to respect that.
Absolutely. Only so many spears you can take. High trying to get the token over the wall. Keep in mind, though, Jensen still has his ultimate. Nice double stun. He might just go for a turnaround kill.
Pulls back, 300 HP. A nice surge from Moon to keep him a little topped off, but Jensen could definitely get some help from Contracts and make something happen in that lane. A ping onto Balls. They know what his position is on the map now up towards Baron. And it looks like Moon may go for a temp bot lane, unless he's just grabbing the Scuttle Crab.
He's also kind of hoping that FlyQuest would go for a dive. Go for the execute!
Oh, chopped up. Contracts using the last bit of mana. A little bit of torque as he gets himself out.
And you have to be so careful going up against Kha'Zix in the jungle. You saw right there, Contractus with 2 Qs out of Fog of War, just enough mana. Moon doesn't even need to go for the dive, but because Contracts had warded out the river, he's able to get a pretty easy kill there. And that's going to make Moon really scared to go into open spaces like that for the rest of the game.
Bit of a disparity here now in the lane. We have seen it throughout pretty much each game except for number 2 for High. Down in CS, his roams much more abundant than Jensen, costing him a bit of CS. And this time he's not coming up with the kills. Nether Grasp right into the ultimate. Smoothie's going to get backed off out of this one, and it looks like they get this Stranglethorn onto Lemon. I thought he just made it off of the outside. Altec keeps himself alive. Summoner spells used on the bot side.
And just the heal and the flash, all that necessary to turn that around. It looked like they thought they had the damage, but they didn't. They got everything down off of this because he flashes, gets his Misfortune E down with the ultimate, so that's essentially the combo, but then Smoothie just turns it around to get the knock up onto Lemon. It's a pretty easy turnaround kill.
Heal as well, helping to save Smoothie on that one.
Yeah, and then Moon comes in right at the end.
Doot doot.
We also come out of that replay into a pause, so we will be looking into what the issue is here on stage.
You seem to be somewhat visual with MF's alt there. Is that actually what it is? Not quite sure of the confirmation yet. We'll have that for you in just a little. Top lane focus on this guy right here has been the majority of the game. It seems to be not the win condition, but at least early game advantage to take down Impact. Make sure he cannot side split push when the time comes.
And it really has been so much about that focus in the top lane for FlyQuest and whether or not that can work. But this game in particular, with the Zed blind pick and then the Nidalee in the jungle, it really feels like FlyQuest is trying to win this game through the laning phase and really just snowball it to victory. So this is a pretty poor start for them as C9 has absorbed a lot of that aggression, actually up in kills, up in gold, and kind of primed to also have a better teamfight phase. So FlyQuest has got to turn it up pretty soon.
And very recently, we mentioned that stat for C9. When they have that lead, they win. Kind of altered within the last few days, but before that, it was 100% snowball rate if they had the lead. You think if there were a team to be able to stop that, it would be FlyQuest. And we're just getting Altec's computer situated.
Yeah, so we will have to wait to hear exactly what is going down and if we can get right back in the game or not.
Also one of the only teams that continues to, not only, there's in Europe, but use that MF as an AD carry.
Yeah.
Wasn't really even shown as a flex this time. They said, oh yeah, Mal's MF. We'll take that. We just want to play it. Altec has really been enjoying the champion in the ball lane.
Yeah, and it's interesting how Smoothie's still willing to match with the Zyra because one of the biggest threats of that lane oftentimes is actually an MF and a Zyra, because that's the strongest support, and then also you kind of get rid of the natural counter. Whereas Malzahar has a few more potential counters, which include Zyra. Zyra is good into the Malzahar lane. So I do feel like FlyQuest, when they did that Malzahar pick, is really trying to just zero in on Lemon Nation's most comfortable champion, which has been the Malzahar as of yet. I hear he really likes playing these kind of weird supports, and he was really early on to the Malzahar before everyone else picked it up. So a huge amount of comfort there that FlyQuest is trying to capitalize on. Just hasn't worked so far this game.
High as well on that Zed. Kind of causing the Zilean pick to come in, I'd say, making sure these assassinations can't happen. We'll see the teams chatting a little bit. Looks like they have been given permission. As well as Moon, we kind of just saw him speaking with the team, has been a little, had a few errors within his top lane gank. Kind of farming in the jungle, has been a bit aloof, as we saw him missing some spears, but definitely not on point as much as we've seen that Nidalee in the past.
Exactly. Moon has had such a good year so far, so having some of those mistakes, pretty crucial. And we do have an update from the stage. They are currently investigating a potential bug with Misfortune's ultimate. So what happened there is Altec flashed in, ER'd. They thought they had the damage, so something, he's claiming, I believe something is happening there, and that is during the investigation, so we'll keep you guys up to date on that.
Crazy. I'm sure the momentum as well coming into this game. They were ready to keep going. Everybody had those win conditions, so these pauses kind of do give you a moment of breath. But obviously, you want to be into that game. We'll get this figured out as quick as possible.
We're going to watch what happened here. I do not know what the report was, but he's claiming a bug with the ultimate. And it looks like the animation for the ult goes off from Altec's perspective, but the rest of the bullet time actually didn't. So that could have been a kill, and then it goes on cooldown as well. So I guess the question would be whether or not they think Altec canceled the ultimate, because that definitely looked to me like no damage came through, despite the MF laugh and gun shooting, and then we saw the pause immediately after.
Yeah, considering that Lemon Nation has you in that nether grasp, it almost looked like that was just his damage.
Well, exactly. He flashed in so confidently with that. And yeah, the damage just does not come through from that ultimate. Yet it does go on cooldown, so you would think. But obviously, I cannot make the call on these. We saw the replay.
What's the answer?
I cannot be anything more than that. Oh, this is going to be an interesting ruling for sure, because the game is at an inflection point, right? We talk about high Zed being down against the Zilean and how Moon's gank's top lane did work early, but ultimately C9 is looking like they're absorbing a lot of this aggression. Very pivotal moment in the game here.
So also just got confirmation that a super minion, not a super minion, one minion blocked all of the damage from the ult, obviously not intended.
Oh my
is the
goodness.
confirmation of the play. So looking into that right now, and that is a pretty severe happening, actually. That would have been a fight win in the bot lane for them. So we'll get this figured out.
I'd actually like to see that again. I'm trying to go back to it on my client here as well, because that is pretty weird. I hear we're going to get another replay as well, because this is obviously what the referees are trying to look at in the back as well.
Oh, that minion.
Yeah. Look at the cannon minion here as Altec goes in for the ultimate. It should obviously pass
right
through,
next to him too.
But the minion,
see the caster blocking,
just gets trucked for some damage, and that is not how the MF ult is supposed to work. This is a bug I've personally never seen.
Well, maybe you should reconsider throwing a bunch of water balloons at somebody. Maybe they should be bullets.
Oh my goodness, and in such a pivotal moment too. 1-1 in the series.
Yeah.
All right, so we're just going to have to wait on that ruling, because the rest of the series still has so much story going through it. Balls has stepped up in a way that many didn't expect against Impact.
Yeah.
Obviously had a lot of help with Moon, but that is how you play the game. You work with your jungler to get those advantages, and that has been where Balls and Moon have been better than Contracts and Impact early on in this series. Even this game as well, if only they could have closed in that second gank.
It has seemed like they have the right idea towards that top side of the map. Impact has been known now to be very, very vocal for the team. Some good English coming through, not just top die. They do make the meme about that, but he is one of the most vocal players on the team. So to make sure he is tagged down and worried about getting his teleport back. And
Suffocating as he gets on camera, trying to watch the final series of the day. Yeah, this is what happens when we have extended pauses. We look around in the crowd.
Oh, God. Earthquake.
Hide.
Earthquake.
I don't know why he's embarrassed about that. He should be more embarrassed of the Twitter picture he posted saying his camera was taking random pictures as he was flexing in the mirror. But
free trip to the gun show.
There we go. He's proud of his body. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sorry, the mind wanders.
Don't be sorry. Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Oh, Jat. See the teams kind of laid back.
Jensen standard, the game is pause stance. Obviously, because of the duration of this pause, both teams know that they're investigating a bug. They're allowed to talk. Obviously, we've been in pause for 8 minutes currently. Really just trying to contemplate where the rest of this series goes. It's been a long day as well. Keeping in mind, the first series went 3.5 hours, so...
Oh, yeah.
The tension builds, Riv.
Riv, yeah. It's been quite a long day. And I'm sure for these guys, the anticipation of coming up to this game, we get in and we had all tech switch out a cable in the monitor, got that fixed up, and we got the hype video played again. And then what two first games, I should say, we had. The Barons back and forth, and now FlyQuest coming out strong in game 2. Game 3 at a stalemate.
Yeah, in many ways. Kills were sitting 3-1. It's a 1,000 gold lead by Cloud9. So still a very competitive game, not much to be decided. Only 10 minutes and 49 seconds in before we hit that pause. And for those of you that may have been off getting a drink or something, we are in pause. They're investigating a misfortune bug, and we've seen many replays. It appeared that the cannon minion somehow took all the damage from bullet time, and that prevented the kill from going through off of Lemon Nation's Nether Grasp on Malzahar. So they're investigating what to do with this situation.
Also checking to make sure that wasn't just visual, making sure it also was accurate. It might have all gone through the heel, kind of throwing us off, but it did seem amiss.
They also have a way of tracking the inputs of the players' computers when they do this. So not only can they check if it's a spectator bug, they also see on the player's computer.
Yeah. It's true. It's like, was it your mistake or not? It's like driving a Tesla into a wall. Probably was your fault.
It was the autopilot, I swear. Much like, I'm sorry, it's just time to go off on a tangent. Did you ever hear the rapid acceleration cases with the Toyota Priuses where people were saying the gas pedal was just held down?
Yes.
And that they pressed the brake and nothing would happen? Well, it's not really a thing. It's mainly people that are in unfamiliar cars that think they're pressing the brake and are actually just pressing the gas pedal, and that's why they have rapid acceleration.
It would be rapid.
Absolutely, but because the case got so strong that they eventually had to do all these things, but no, they were never able to really prove rapid acceleration happens.
I actually have had that happen once.
Were you
Luckily, I was
in a
going
car
uphill.
that you hadn't driven?
No, it was my car, but it just got stuck under the floor mat when I pressed the gas pedal down.
But that, you can actually just press the brake and overpower the gas.
To a point.
To a point.
It doesn't sound good. We're still waiting for this. Like Jess said, if you're just joining us, unfortunately in a pause of quite a rabble-rousing game. Unfortunately now kind of losing that aggression. We'll get back into it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it has been such a series coming through. It was pretty much everything we had wanted up until this point, where no one wants an 11-minute pause in such a pivotal moment. It'll make it all the more rewarding when we do get back into the game because it is such a hype series. Just recapping kind of the whole season, Cloud9 unbeaten so far, 7-0, trying to go on 8-0. FlyQuest currently sitting at 6-1. If they win, hold the tiebreaker over Cloud9 and move into sole possession of first place. People were talking coming into this week that yes, FlyQuest was 5-1, but they hadn't played TSM, Phoenix 1, or Cloud9 yet. Now they're really going to face the big teams. If they could walk out of this having already beaten Phoenix 1 and also beating Cloud9, they're really in that conversation for one of the best teams in the LCS.
I've definitely heard somebody say that second one, that FlyQuest needs to be tested coming into this game. But no, you're absolutely right. We're coming around to week number 5. These guys are at the top of the table, and it looks great for them on the back half. They pretty much don't have to worry about anything. So a huge win here for FlyQuest would put them in even better position. I mean, it's only 1-2 that they're jockeying for, but these guys have not shown that many weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also just the emotional component and how much the momentum can carry through to the rest of the season. Like I said, I hadn't seen Hai as excited after a game in years than he was after winning that game 2 against Cloud9, just kind of bounding off the stage so happily. And it's just, him now blind picking the Zed and kind of throwing down the gauntlet onto Jensen to try and take him out. You want to see him succeed if you've been watching Cloud9 for so many years, but then you watch them against Cloud9 and you say, no, don't succeed against Cloud9, but that's the situation we're in right now with all these veterans being on FlyQuest and making quite a splash as the new old guys in the LCS.
It is true. We did see how kind of jived High was to get that Zed pick locked in, and has been able to do a bit of work with it in the game.
Yeah, I haven't heard from production in a bit, but we know that we have seen the replays.
Yeah.
They obviously are investigating potential remake options, whether or not it deems a full remake or not. We've been in a lot of situations like this, and we have to essentially wait on the referee's call to know what has happened. We have remade a few games in the history of the LCS. So obviously, whenever there's a game-changing bug that happens that you can go back, sometimes you do full remakes for those things. We're just going to have to wait on what happens.
It is true, and there's the options too. Usually if there's no game of record, which means people were seeing, you keep the same champions. This one may actually flow over into the complete new picks and bans scenario. We will have to see in just a few moments. We do apologize for the delay into FlyQuest and C9. It's been such a long-awaited match to come up, but it will happen tonight. I can promise you that.
No?
I can promise you that. No, I'll put myself on
It's been a long time since 2012 where we had to push games off to a later date. This one is honestly a bug we've never seen before. For those of you who are just joining us, obviously, Alltech, MF Ultimate was going for a kill, didn't appear to do any damage to the champion, which I can pretty much confirm. We've seen it multiple times. It looked like it hit the minion and somehow didn't pass through, even though nothing blocks MF Ultimate except for wind walls and Brahmies. So definitely pause-worthy. Good job by Alltech for pausing that to try and ask for a bug to be investigated, and that's currently what's happening.
Absolutely. And as we sort out everything on stage, we are going to go ahead and throw it over to analysts Mark and Azael over on the desk. Guys, take it away.
Thanks, Riv. And so unfortunate pause there.
Yeah, and
middle of the game.
The crazy thing is that bug, it looks really hard to tell because Jat's saying it doesn't look like it was doing damage. We were watching it as well. We were more on the side that it looked like it was, in fact, doing damage. So it's a complicated thing that they have to sort out.
It definitely is. And I mean, the only thing that we're thinking of is when it's no Malzahar Voidlings, no Malzahar E. The MF, just the E, plus the Malzahar support ultimate should not do about 600 damage, which is kind of what he took there. But it's hard to tell. The invisibility on the ultimate is obviously a bug.
Yeah, of course.
And that's definitely got to be frustrating. But, for these teams, either way, regardless of what happens, they have to be able to reset mentally. For a team who doesn't get a remake and wants one, or for a team that does and didn't want one, you got to be able to kind of step back and just relax and take the game from there.
And the big thing is, of course, the fact that this game was not going very well for FlyQuest. They have been forcing a lot of plays, which we expect to see, but they were mostly getting turned. There was High in the top side going for that dive, and he kind of got dealt with. He goes down, lost a lot of CS off it. Jensen was able to push in waves before following the roam. It was kind of counteracted by the fact that there was a lot of CS denied for C9 in the bot lane because Smoothie had moved up, but overall it seemed like C9 was slowly getting control of this game before the bug.
Yeah, and Jensen himself had a very big lead. You touched on it, High's roam, but Jensen matched the roam, but only after shoving in the wave, collecting all that farm first. So he was up a lot of farm, about 25, before he actually, went up and got that kill and everything. It cost both the summoners from High, so it's definitely a tough situation to be in for High, but we know that FlyQuest can get themselves out of those situations and has come back from a lot worse.
Right, and just to touch on the draft part of it too is the fact that we haven't seen the Zilean pick come out really at all. So when you see High be known for these crazy kind of counter picks and the Zed being actually a blind pick here, he's done it a couple times. The fact that you see their counter pick here in the Zilean is something that you have to take into account should there be a remake, exactly how this changes up the draft strategy. And it's hard to be a player in this position and even a coach because you don't know if you should be worrying about the next game, if there's a remake, how does your draft change, or if you have to reset into this game, what plays you need to be looking out for and exactly what the game state is, because it is such a long time between, when you get your hands back on the mouse and keyboard again.
Or even if it's just a remake with same pick and bans, I don't really know how it would work. But the Zilean, obviously, not what I think most people were expecting, and people were kind of talking about that on Twitter even, and just kind of joking about it. But it seems to make some sense. Obviously, thought process being you're playing against Nidalee, you're playing against Zed. A lot of their goal in these sort of team fights is going to be to dive in, assassinate one person. If you can deny that, they feel like they can win the extended fight for Cloud9, and Zilean is pretty strong at doing that. But there are some weaknesses in both of the team comps as well.
Right, and even the Malzahar as well is another single target focused thing. But it feels like, FlyQuest Team Comp does also get outscaled. I think I'd rather take Kha'Zix in the late game situation over the Nidalee. Similar with the Jhin and Zyra, they end up doing a lot of like AoE damage, whereas the MF is basically press R, and that's her biggest contribution. So when you look at the fact that FlyQuest is a little bit behind already with how the game is going, the fact that I don't think their comp does as well in the late game, this is a big concern for FlyQuest, even if they come back into this game.
And Nidalee is something we can touch on a little bit more because we have seen it kind of popping up more and more in the NALCS. Moon has been playing it. Acadian played it a couple of games. Moon did have some pretty good success on it, but we were talking about this like, during the game, the fact that it can be very, very hard to get involved in Nidalee in the late game or if you're behind.
Right, and it was a good early game by Moon, the initial path up to the top side to get the first blood with the help of balls. I mean, it's one of the things that people love doing, actually, is Maokai Nidalee because it's such guaranteed lockdown CC for the spears to hit. Unfortunately, they only made that one play. He revisited a couple more times, unable to get any more done, and it felt like that's when things started to peter out for FlyQuest.
Yeah, and Moon traditionally has had very good mechanics in the NALCS this season, and actually that second one, he auto-attacked the minion. The last auto-attack would have actually gotten them a kill, but he right-clicked the minion instead, so that was pretty unfortunate, and you do kind of want to snowball because Nidalee is such a good power farmer. If you can get the early kills, stay ahead in farm, you really can start to out-level your opponents. You can start taking some advantages from that, and you can go off, right? But if you don't get to the late game stages with those advantages, or you can't find people in the side lanes to pick off, we've seen Nidalee very often relegated to just being kind of this heal bot. You throw out spears occasionally, you're just healing up your teammates, you're not really able to get a lot done, and that's kind of more what has happened to Acadian when I've seen him playing it compared to him on Kha'Zix and other champions. He's not been able to have the same involvement and the same success that he normally would in the late game.
Right, and kind of expanding more to the broader scope of the series so far, it seems like FlyQuest is way more proactive a team, which I think we would have expected coming into the series based off the amount of kills they get in the early game, but it is a little worrying for C9 to see them until this last game, struggling to keep up with FlyQuest, who had grabbed leads in the first few games. And here, again, they did get the first blood, and it looked like they might start snowballing around the top side before that unfortunate dive. And C9 does seem to be the team that has to play more on the back foot, which is scary when you're supposed to be the #1 placed team. Like, you're expected to be able to run kids down and crush them, but that doesn't seem to be the case against a lot of the other top-tier teams.
No, at least against FlyQuest. I mean, against TSM, to their credit, they two them very easily. You know, they have had some other series that were closer, but it was with Ray in. This has been a series with Impact the whole way through. You know, there's no early season jitters type excuses, and it is very close, right? These teams seem to be pretty evenly matched. You do have to wonder a little bit how much of this is nerves, you know, for both teams. I think it's a match that there's a lot riding on it as far as pride, as far as
the hype that came into this week, too. We've been talking about for basically a week straight.
And I mean, for someone like Jensen, right? A lot of people used to talk about it, and you could tell it would be kind of annoying if you're on C9 and everyone talks about, you know, high shot calling, high shot calling, high shot calling. It's like almost like no one else is making any decisions, no one else is making moves on the team, and I think that is something that people wanted to kind of erase that from the C9 reputation once Hyden was no longer playing with them. They wanted to be seen as their own shot callers, as their own team, and kind of create their own reputation. So now High is back. FlyQuest is crushing. High is looking amazing. It's like, oh God, not again, right?
Right, he had the solo kill on Jace against him in the second, or I think it was the first game where he was doing that. So, I mean, it is that kind of thing where like a lot of the counterparts that they replaced are stepping up. Like another one being Contracts versus Moon. I think we would say that for the most part of this series, Moon has gotten the better of Contracts. There was that one play where Contracts comes over the wall this game and kills Moon in the river, but other than that, I think Contracts has looked a little bit weaker, and this is a player that was on the Cloud9 Challengers team that became FlyQuest before joining the main roster. So a lot of kind of incestuous relationships on the team with all the players.
Yeah, I mean, Moon has actually just played, I think it is fair to say he's had a better series than Contracts. Contracts has looked good in a number of different situations, had his own nice plays, of course, but Moon has been jungling very, very well and been extremely proactive. He's been one to go top twice, get early first bloods on Impact, even the one game where Contracts did get that early first blood, Moon was still able to go top and kill Impact again. So a lot of the focus has actually been topside, and it's interesting because people don't traditionally think of balls as FlyQuest's strong point, right? But Moon is actually putting a lot of his resources into camping for him and shutting down Impact. Throughout the games, there's been a ton of top lane focus.
Right, and I think that's something that maybe more teams look to exploit in the future, just with regards to the fact that, you know, most people don't think that they can actually exploit Impact. You think that he's the solid rock top laner of this series, but even when he got the Camille pick, they picked the Poppy Eve, they started abusing him there, and it's the kind of thing where maybe moving forward, people try and exploit this a little bit harder, because Impact is a player who's on a little bit of an island on the top side. It does feel like Contracts is more around the mid and jungle, so or mid and bottom, excuse me. So I think maybe you start looking for a little bit of a blueprint here where you get him onto these tanks and then you camp him heavily early and kind of shut down his control over the mid and late game.
Yeah, definitely. And for C9, as Contracts and as the C9 team, you have to look to try to counteract that, right? You have to look to be able to enable him. If he's getting shut down, then you need to be there for the counter ganks. And one time you had pointed out was Contracts, going back to the Krugs in that early tower dive where he could have been there to kind of defend Impact on Camille in that game. There's times where they could have been in better position, because if you can shut down a tower dive, if you can counter gank that, it can be devastating for the other team. If you turn those around, it can often end up in 2-for-0 for the other team. And that's something that Contracts definitely needs to try to do, whether it's through vision, tracking Moon very well and trying to protect Impact that way, or being in position for those counter ganks. They have to do a better job of protecting Impact, especially if this is going to be a remake and they're going to have another game. They can't have Impact be the first person on C9 dying a 4th game in a row, because even when they got first blood, he was still the first C9 member to die, and that's happened 3 straight games.
Right, I mean, you can probably put a little bit on Impact as well. With the Camille game, I don't think he looked super comfortable on the pick. Nope. You were pointing out all the mechanical things he wasn't doing right. He let the wave come into balls a number of times now, and that's opened him up to the early ganks. And Moon has done a little creative pathing to make sure that he's there at the most exploitable times. But I mean, Impact's a really smart player, and if he starts realizing that I'm being targeted, he needs to do a better job manipulating the wave to keep it on his side, so that way FlyQuest can't go for these easy, overextended tank kills. Yeah,
and one of the things you had pointed out was the fact that Balls was often playing the champ that kind of has the better early push, right? And that's enabling him to bounce the wave, to reset it, and then set up kind of the slow push back to himself, where Moon can then look to gank that. And if you aren't going to put Impact on a champion where he can have kind of equal agency to manipulate that wave and control it and keep it in a location where he is, then the jungler does need to be there to walk in the wave, right? So that you can push it and reset it. And that is something that it's a 2 sides of the same coin, right? Either Impact has to do a better job, and if he's failing, then his team has to cover for mistakes, and you have to be there. And sometimes as a top laner, there's no way around it. You need jungle support, even just to get the wave back to a decent spot.
Right, and kind of looking more on the FlyQuest side, I mean, they've done this a number of times. We're talking about the fact that C9 needs to react to what FlyQuest is doing. FlyQuest could also try shaking it up a little bit more. It feels like, let's target top side, let's get an advantage there, and let's flip it bot side. They've gone for a number of heavy bot plays, worked out really well in game 2, where they were able to bring High down after they got the Shen globals out. But High is constantly down CS, and they're making all these roam plays, and it's this thing that we always talked about, our concern with FlyQuest being that they make a ton of roam plays, and it's great, but it's often from deficits or something where they're catching up or getting a small lead versus a really blowing the game open one. And I think Jensen in particular has done a good job of mostly exploiting that, with the exception being that game 2 where he didn't leave lane enough.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's always been the thing for FlyQuest. It's kind of interesting because they just keep winning, right? But people are like, oh, well, when someone does this against them, then they're going to lose, right? And now it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, they beat these other teams, but they haven't beat C9. And when C9 plays them, they're just going to lose their lanes too hard and the roams won't work or whatever. But it just seems to be that FlyQuest is able to make the winning call a lot of the time, and they're able to fully commit to it and make those pay off. But I do agree, if you are losing the lanes and then you roam and the roam does not work, then you're massively behind, and that's kind of what it looked like was happening in Game 3, with that high roam to top lane and Jensen getting a very big lead.
Right. I mean, like you said, FlyQuest, they're one of those teams, as we point out this early kill here by Moon, this is kind of what they've been doing a lot this series, where Balls has the wave coming into him. He's not even level 3 yet, but they're still able to brute force it. We were talking about maybe Impact should have fought within the wave there, trying to abuse a little bit more, because once you leave the wave, it opens yourself up for that long-range spear, which is set up by Balls. And they go top again. Here's that missed auto by Moon. They could have had another kill here and held them down really, really hard, because then he doesn't quite get this. And then this is a really extended sequence where I believe this play that happens is still off the back of that. High had roamed top, but Smoothie and Jensen had covered after pushing in their respective waves, and then he's just barely unable to pick up the kill in the contracts. And that's kind of one of the worst spots you can be in. And we were joking about that's a tilter of a play. Yeah. And the funny thing is, we were talking about how High is like such a positive guy, always looking for the next thing. We talk about how Moon in scrims is like, oh, he just suicides harder than me and tells me don't worry about it. So I think this is the kind of play where like a lot of teams would be like, oh God, we just put so much resources in that top play, it doesn't work. I bet FlyQuest were just like, oh, we denied Jin in the bot lane. This is great. This is exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, they definitely do seem to be a team that is able to always kind of look on the positive side of things as far as what do we do to win next, right? They're always going for the winning plays, and that's sometimes you see teams do that and you get blown out of the game because you go for a risky play. Even if that's the best chance to win, you should still be going for it, right?
Yeah, and I think I was talking with you a little bit about how with FlyQuest, I didn't care if they won or lost this series too much, and especially how they lost, because they're such an aggressive team that keeps going for those plays that if they got blown out 2-0, but they were like constantly forcing, my opinion of them wouldn't have really changed based off this series. It would have been C9's the better team. Okay, not too much of a surprise, but like there's no way that FlyQuest loses that changes my opinion of them currently in the season, because they are the team that, you know, Hyatt literally was playing LeBlanc, died, respawned, ran bottom, went aggressive, died again, and then they won that game. So they are totally like, we're going to keep going, pedal to the metal, not letting up ever, and if we get blown out as a result, that's what happens.
Yeah, it definitely can. And I mean, based on the 2 games that we've seen, the teams look pretty evenly matched, right?
Right.
FlyQuest was actually ahead in game 1. The Baron went tragic. They ended up losing the game off that. Game 2, they're able to take. We're in game 3. It's definitely looking like a close series. But report cards so far for the 2 teams, to me, it kind of looks like FlyQuest is overall in the series coming out a bit on top.
Right, I would definitely agree with that. The fact that they are the ones making the proactive plays. You even look at a number of the plays that C9 has worked out well for them in game 3. It's mostly off the back of reacting to what FlyQuest is doing. And I personally always favor the proactive team because as you get later and later into the season, it's much harder to change your style and become a proactive team than it is to refine your already proactive plays. So a team like FlyQuest, they have been playing together for a while throughout the Challenger Series, but as they play more on the stage, they'll get more and more used to playing with each other. They obviously have a depth of strategies that they can pull out anytime. They'll keep progressing, whereas the concern with C9 is when other people start catching up to them, are they going to be able to keep forcing plays, which we haven't seen a ton of, at least in this series.
Yeah, we definitely haven't. But one thing to C9's credit is, you know, Jensen, in an interview I had with him earlier this year, was talking about the development of contracts. And they didn't even think they would be doing well in the early season. They thought it would take more time for contracts to adapt to the stage. And as he does learn and grow and improve as a player, C9 can get a lot from that, right? Because contracts has looked pretty good, but I certainly don't think he's been, you know, the top jungler in the league or anything like that. And there is, as a rookie, still a lot of room for him to go. I mean, he's 17, right? Like this is a ridiculously young player, and he could have a really long career. And I mean, it's hard to tell where he could go.
I think it was funny when you made that comment on the previous Analyst Desk segment talking about how you didn't think Contracts was all that impressive. You caught a lot of Twitter flack. So do you want to explain a little bit more to justify your opinion with the little bit of free time we have?
I mean, it's pretty much just the fact, I think Contracts is a good player, and I think he's done well. But when you look at the jungle talent as a whole, you know, we were going through it talking about some of the players. When you're looking at guys like Honori and Dardoch and Moon and Acadian and even Rainover and all these guys, is Contracts to me a better jungler than those players? So far this season, no. And I think that is a statement that like is pretty defendable, and it's something where he's still very good, but he is more middle of the pack. Whereas most of the players on C9 have really been excelling and looking like the best or one of the very best in their role. Whereas Contracts, although he is a rookie, and that is obviously a big reason for it, I don't think he has been like the top jungler by any means in the league.
Right, and I would agree with that. I think you can look at a number of plays when there's like a rookie jungler is the reason that they are doing things. So that's the big thing for me, is that like Acadian is their early game force, Honori is a bit of the early game force for P1, and Contracts mostly plays off Jensen, I think.
Yeah, but it has been a very good pair for them so far, and it has led them to a so far undefeated season, which
can't criticize too much.
Could remain undefeated. We're going to have to wait on the results of the rest of this game. But I think we are ready to go back to the game, so we're going to hand it over to the casters for game number 3.
Thank you very much, Azael and Mark. Before we do get in, I want to take a moment to discuss a tool that can be utilized to actually set a previous time in the game. Chat, you want to discuss that?
Yeah, so this is actually really interesting. It's the first time the tool has been used. It's called Deterministic Disaster Recovery Tool, and previously when something is deemed a bug and a team is offered a remake, it is a full remake. But with this tool, you can essentially replay the game automatically through to a certain point, which is right before the bug occurs. So the Misfortune Ultimate was deemed a bug, but as we were during this long delay, they've been trying to execute the disaster recovery tool, and apparently it has worked. So we're going to be trying to get back into the game. The bug happened at 10:49. Apparently we're going back to 10 minutes and 20 seconds and should be able to jump right back into the game, which, as you see at 10 minutes and 20 seconds, we should be ready to play.
All right, let's lock it in.
This is pretty cool.
5 seconds before we get in. And we have been recovered. We'll play out this one.
Oh,
and make sure.
that is the biggest bait I've ever had in my life. Why did they pause?
We will see.
Why did they pause?
We will see. The trolling.
Oh, man.
Going on. So
Anyway.
we'll have to see. Because previously, things have been kind of debacled by messing around with time in the game, but we're still looking to make this.
In the process of offering the remake through the deterministic disaster recovery tool, when a team accepts the remake, since it is still a fairly new feature, it's new technology, if the recovery doesn't work, then they go into a full remake. We had been receiving messaging that it had worked, but we will now have to find what the new pause on stage is. Oh my goodness.
You could give that just a second before we get some information in here.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, that's
Too soon.
That's the biggest false start of my life right there. That is. I was so ready for that game to restart.
We'll see the players. I'm sure they were just about as ready to go, and Alltech pointing to something on his screen was kind of a miss right away, so definitely to be something else that they'll find out here, and we'll get that update for you in just a few minutes.
Also, while I believe it was called Deterministic Disaster Recovery Tool, the cool nickname is Chrono Break. I don't know if that's finalized. Like I said, this is a very new feature that they're trying to implement in right here. So Chrono Break or DDR, whatever one catches on and they decide when they actually have our official messaging of this happening after we've used the tool in the LCS. But I'm really excited if this can work, but obviously there's a slight hiccup here with Moon.
It's reported that he isn't being able to use abilities, but actually after looking at it, they're thinking it may be a spectator on his end.
Okay.
To see that happen, so they may still be happening related to the disaster recovery tool. As I said, kind of sometimes switching that time back has proved troublesome in the past.
Absolutely. That's why the option of a full remake could still be on the table if this does not end up working, but you definitely have to feel for FlyQuest and Moon sitting through this now incredibly long delay. I believe we're up around 30 minutes, so
and this is really
difficult circumstances for both teams to have to go through.
It's really been the goal as well of the team behind the scenes here, trying to make sure that nothing can be affected in these games, and if it can, we can bring the players back to as much work as they have put into that game as possible.
Yeah. That is obviously the hope. We will get word on Moon's issue as soon as possible. And if you're kind of in the mind of the players right here, it's going to be, very interesting to try and get in the right mindset, because they've been sitting here for quite a while waiting for this thing to hopefully execute, and then you're that close. I mean, we've all experienced this as viewers. It's the false start feeling if they'd have to remake again.
Absolutely. You look at two of the best teams in the league. Well, this game is the one they want to win. They're still going on after this to have top spots. Teams still have to gun them down. Woo! Going into stream mode right now. Unplugged Riv. And we'll see. Going back into game here. They don't want me talking that much anymore.
Okay, so it looks like they've been able to resolve the issue on Moon's end, and we are back in the game. Did they just do it again? They did the same play again?
So
and it killed them.
I think they're testing, getting back in. They're going for that replay.
No,
Did you see what happened? Yeah, it looks like that did play out.
And we just unfortunately missed it on stream, so with the remake game, the gank is successful. We'll have to get a full replay on that. I almost want to see it one more time as they take the Drake afterwards, and we can kind of re-enter ourselves into this game.
I think we're back. I'm going to wait 2 seconds. Yeah, we're back. All right. Contracts into the mid, on to high now. The players regaining the control of the game. Auto attack onto high. Oh. He's walking out of this one slow. Oh, he's dead. Bomb connects. High's going down. Throws up the chair, but he can't even sit down. Bomb takes him down first.
All right, so we are now with a gold lead on a FlyQuest because they were able to take the turret after the bot lane kill was successful, but High will continue to be the victim of this counter pick by Jensen in the mid lane. And Contracts, these guys are right back in action.
Fight there in the jungle, just so we're not thrown off, that replay will happen one more time as we see what actually happened in the bot lane when they did engage. After there's a bit of a breathe moment, I don't think they'll be able to get out of this just yet.
Yeah, so to confirm, that was actually real play. They restarted the game at 10:20, and then they decided to go for the gank once again. Flash ult, flash E-ult, and look at that damage! Able to finish off Smoothie this time. Then the Voidlings chase through as well to push him off turret. 500 gold to FlyQuest.
Really playing themselves into the situation. Kind of good sports in it as well. We'll see how the game plays out from here. Players trying to find their ground, as I said before. Looks like Hai did find himself going down in the mid lane. He gets back 127 to 91 as we've seen that discrepancy in CS for him. He takes to the side lanes, and it's actually going to be mirrored by Jensen. And it should be the whole time to keep him down.
And that's the thing. It's very difficult for Hai to get involved or do much to Jensen. Even though Jensen has the ultimate to save himself, he doesn't really need it, because anytime Hai will go for a death mark, Jensen can just put 2 bombs right on top of him and gets that instant stun. So Hai can't even really get death mark damage on afterwards. Not to mention the now 2-level discrepancy he faces against Zillion.
Turret down on the bottom. Altec can float around in mid now, as that's going to be Hai's, but Hai coming up the river onto Sneaky. Bullet time into the death mark. Nicely done. The flick of a switch from bot to mid lane.
Yeah, no Zillion there to help, and
right.
Sneaky has been continually picked on in this series. Comes Contracts on the lemon, though.
Oh,
Can anyone come to help him? Voidling stopped the isolation, so great turnaround on that gank.
He definitely did want it after the nether grasp. Sneaky's back up, returning to his team. Looks like Contracts is going to give a little of a help bot here to Jensen. He may be able to get something onto Hai. Moon's going to be trailing just on the back. Double up. And cut Smoothie's health in half.
Yeah, the game really opening up right now because the bottom lane turret was being able to take down. And however Fly can escape Jensen with the Edge of Night, he will be able to prevent Jensen's instant stun, giving him a little bit more threatening. But especially without level 11 and no Ignite, Fly actually threatening a kill is highly unlikely.
Contracts, though. Ooh. Scryer's Bloom just over the wings. And he's got to be forced out. Moon still hovering the bottom side, even though most of his jungle's gone. He's just trying to pay respects to the power that C9 has down in his bot lane. So he finally gets to the top side. Things cool off for that engage. But C9 still looking to get this bot side in control. Make sure that next turret is down there.
Yeah, this is going to be all about the split push and collapse game, at least for the next bit for FlyQuest. It's going to be really difficult since they don't actually have the advantage in the Zed split pushing lane, but he is still moving to side lanes because they would rather spread the game out and keep Jensen away from the rest of the team since he is the stronger player. Really on Hai now, not to gain the advantage, but really just try and take the CS advantage from Jensen away from the rest of his team.
Also, we just saw Hai leaving Jensen in the bot lane, allow him to get a quick kill on Sneaky. No Chrono Shift to bring him back. Still has a pretty safe ward to his left. He's going to possibly call for help on this one.
Try and dive him.
Speed up for Contract, still not enough. The ult used in the bot lane. Information now to Fly. And it looks like it's only going to be Moon's rotation down. They can't put too much pressure in mid lanes.
Yeah, Balls was channeling his teleport to try and turn that around, but Impact actually ran up to interrupt it, so that'll go on a big cooldown for Maokai right here. And the pressure's going to kind of stay around Hai. Contracts wants to try again. Edge of Night up. Turret slowly going down, though. Can FlyQuest put any pressure elsewhere as Contracts is spending so much time on the bottom side?
Seeing question pings in that mid lane. They do still have vision of Altec there. Top side.
They want a 3-man dive.
It's going to be the Nether Grasp after Flash. They wait, they pause, and they make sure they can get Impact down. Just rotations coming in from Cloud9 here. They have to use quite a bit to get him, and finally take him down in the end.
Yeah, the 3-man Courage of the Colossus shield with the Spirit Visage against 3 magic damage champions makes him quite a force to take down, but with 3 people and all that CC, they eventually were able to do it. They just actually had to burn a Flash and an Exhaust.
Very low in mid lane on this turret. Getting out as much damage as he can. It should be enough, no, not enough minions to take it out. Jensen's coming in for the kill, though, and they will have enough pressure after Contracts moves back into the jungle, as this kind of signifies Cloud9 feels good about the aggression, and they will start to back off. Good wards for them as well, as they've moved them up to the bottom side.
Yeah.
A little dark on the map for FlyQuest right now.
Especially with the Misfortune ultimate being down, that makes this Cloud Drake force pretty simple for C9. They're stronger in teamfights already with this level 13 Zillion, especially when they're up ultimates with Bullet Time and Nethergrass being down. That evens out the Cloud Drakes in this one. And I still feel like later in the game, C9 should hold that teamfight edge. It's going to still be on FlyQuest to make the plays to spread out this map and try and pick C9 off.
So Dragon for Dragon as well. Next one's Infernal. Jockey for position on that. FlyQuest finally getting those wards back towards the top side. Not really enough to tell them with any denial of vision where anybody is either. They're just getting these back out. Looks like mid lane's just been the clear out. 176 on CS for Alltech as he continues to farm this high, tending to the side waves before they can find another way in.
Yeah, and really the game in a bit of a lull right now, with the outer turrets being down in 2 of the 3 lanes across the map, but it's mismatched a little bit. Balls' Maokai still having a really strong game, able to keep that top lane turret up, whereas the counter-pick Zilean has kept that mid lane turret completely fresh and clean here. So Alltech trying to get some pressure in that mid lane, but it's just really difficult for them to push through.
FlyTech sounded cool.
FlyTech.
I would have stuck with that. Moon picking up red. May actually come back right behind Alltech trying to get the engage in. We did see Lemon Nation on the top side. It looks like they're actually waiting for Cloud9 to engage here. They're just going to walk out of bullet time if they try to engage themselves from the side of Fly. Slowly walking in, Jensen behind contracts for a bit of speed safety as well as life safety. They're just in and out. Not too much to work on. They were doing a little bit of damage once this mid turret was up, but now they have nothing to get around, so they're going to start fighting up towards the river. Not enough vision with a control ward past that brush, and they're really not figuring out where those shots are going, and both take a horizontal position here in mid.
Yeah, Balls' Maokai has no flash, and that's the best way for them to try and initiate in, but they also don't want to go too hard through Cloud9 because of the threat of that Zilean right here, not only having the zone control with the bombs on the ground, but also because you can prevent that execution. Eats the exhaust from Smoothie, though, still nearly kills him, and now they set up push mid. Does Impact decide to teleport in for a flank?
They've got a lot of wards behind. Over by the red, might be too far for Impact to try and do anything. He slowly lumbers out of the base back to the top side, expecting it to be pushed in quite soon from Ball. So things being set up slowly. Actually, he's heading towards mid now. They may figure they need a little bit of pressure. Once they see high bot lane, they'll know that's relieved. Things again panning out to just clearing the waves until somebody really makes a mistake. Infernal Drake's going to be up in about 3-4 minutes. 3-ish. That might be our next fight.
Yeah, especially with the Cloud Drakes matching on both teams. It would still feel like C9 has the zone control advantage, and also the mid lane is so pivotal as far as getting control of that Drake. 20 minutes in, we're just getting closer with 1-1 series. Such a rivalry brewing between these teams, even though it's the first time they have ever played each other. I'm really looking forward to that.
Kind of saying, we're going to make this a rivalry. That's what's going to happen. High's ready to come in and put down that first place position with the rest of the team, and they have been showing it quite well here in this first spring split for themselves.
Gotta carefully watch out for Lemon in the river here.
Cloud9 contracts going in hard. Bullet time over the wall. He does get the chrono shift on, so we'll see contracts coming back very healthy. Now they back out high, delivering a little AoE damage. Moon, very far in on the Nidalee. Goes down. What would he expect from that? High as well, gonna get taken down here as they all go a little too deep.
The CC locking is immense there from C9. Moon thought he was gonna be going in for the execute, probably envisioned pouncing forward as High comes in with the ultimate, but that's just not what they're playing against. They get caught up completely in all of the Zyra CC, and then Impact comes in. Now they force Baron as Balls comes in on Maokai.
Right onto contracts, trying to down a bit of the DPS. They've actually got Balls cornered in for the Baron. He was taking the damage as Impact had just stepped out. Alltech 0 mana, looking for a double up on the back line. Contracts just out of range, and Sneaky stays alive as well. Slivers of health here with Baron real angry, but he still isn't going to take any of the members of Cloud9 down, and neither will FlyQuest.
C9 turned this game completely on its head with that last sequence of events. It wasn't the Infernal Drake, it was the random skirmish in the river. Lemon Nation turns it around on contracts, but Jensen's Zilean there once again. The fight continues. You can see Impact is not there, so FlyQuest wants to go in. Moon thinks he can flash for the execute, matches with the flash away on Kha'Zix. Smoothie immediately there with the counter, and this is where it just goes from bad to worse. Impact flash over the wall for the easy CC onto High, and that's all they need to be able to force a 5 versus 3 Baron.
Ooh, interesting. We heard Azael say on the desk that you would kind of have Moon going in, or Mark, High saying, just go in. I'm probably going to die first. It doesn't matter. But that was Moon that time. A little too far. The team could not get a hold on his engage. And now we see Cloud9 trying to work this engage down towards the bot side. Baron's gone. Map is objective free. A 22-second Dragon. So a good fight down here could mean that Dragon and this turret.
Yeah, it feels like it would take some wizardry for Fly to come back against this team right now when there is just so much CC, an exhaust, a revive against High Zed, and not many other Fed members. He's just
roaming around. He got pinged. They're like questions.
Trying to sneak around everywhere. There's no, he's been gone for so long. Oh, spotted.
Sneaky's like, I don't feel good about this. Sixth sense, someone's behind me. Steps over Ward. He is correct. And with High kind of roaming around looking for a pick that the team could work off of, they give Cloud9 time.
Yeah, they might just go straight for this inhibitor. Ball's still not there. They might. FlyQuest may have made the call to try and get 2 turrets for an inhib, but there's no need for C9 to actually stop until FlyQuest goes back to base.
And I feel like this is a calm call to say, yeah, they're going to take it, give it up. Where is Balls? When does he come back on this one?
Back eventually.
This is going to be a Nexus turret getting hit. He is going to teleport in. Maybe they wanted C9 to commit more to the base, but he comes in on a Nexus turret, not a turret behind him, and Cloud9's got a free way out.
And the decisiveness by Cloud9 pays off huge. FlyQuest cannot get either of the turrets they were intending to trade, so it is essentially just the inhibitor for nothing if you're looking at FlyQuest. C9 come out way ahead.
They have been able to stop these calls on each other all game, staving off the next move. Cloud9 finally pulls a fast one in. Very unlike FlyQuest. Make the wrong decision to not pull Balls back right away. 7-4 here. It's 25 minutes into the game. And that is an inhibitor down in the bot lane.
Exactly, only 24 minutes in as well, Ribbon. We talk about the beginning of a rivalry. They definitely have a memorable first series. I mean, FlyQuest jumped out to a 6,000 gold lead 29 minutes into game 1, unable to close in despite having that legendary teamwork that High has for leadership. Then High comes back in a big way, huge damage on Corki, wins game 2. And we have our first like half remake with the Chrono Shift tool being able to restart the game 12 minutes in, and now after all of the delays, Cloud9 really jumps out ahead in this game. It'll be about whether or not they can close it down and stay undefeated on the year.
How it's fitting Zilean is in that first remake. The top turret getting taken down as Cloud9 strengthens their hold now on FlyQuest. Looking for this second turret. Nobody's actually going to be in mid, so all 5 members here looking to put the pressure on. Does FlyQuest answer? Better idea to let this one go on the outside, but they don't think so. At least Balls going in, losing a bit of health.
C9 is playing so well coordinated right now. They're just zoning off with the bullets, but Jensen might get caught. Oh
Jensen locked up. Can he get the Chrono Shift to go down?
He didn't get it off.
He is dead. To right. They're going to keep following through. A good hit. High goes through as well. Pulls himself back. Another kill going on to Contracts, and Cloud9 as they continue to push forward for the turret. Nobody's with you, Impact. Got to be careful. He is just flexing his muscles right now to wait for the minion wave to come in. 2 for 2 now, but that's High, or Contracts and Jensen down to High and Lemon.
They have to defend the base with the misfortune. That play, though, was Jensen getting ulted by Lemon Nation and then silenced to not be able to get his ultimate off. And caster curses of all caster curses, right as I say they're playing so coordinated, Jensen moves forward in front of the tank because all C9 had to do there was keep Impact in front, and anyone that FlyQuest tried to go on could be saved with Chrono Shift, and they could just chip away with the Jin poke at the turret, but they do not do that. They give a few kills back, and they keep the door just barely open for FlyQuest.
Teleport still there for Impact on the way back in. Does not have to be with the team right away. We'll see Baron in a few minutes as well. Maybe a no contest on that, but we'll see this fight once again.
Yeah, the start of it was great for C9. You can see they don't really take any damage. They're able to just re-siege the turret. Impact should be in front, but here Jensen wants to combo with like a Thunderlord's proc on the double bomb he landed onto Altec and just kind of walks into a Malzahar, forgetting where he is for a second, and he dies. That allows High to have freedom to jump in, but even then he gets eaten by the exhaust. They still see Seam with the Nautilus because Impact has been right on top of High the whole game, and ultimately it's a 2 for 2. So that really speaks to what an advantage C9 had. The Jensen can step forward that badly and it not cost C9 horribly.
No, absolutely true. Impact finding that hit on too high. We figured the Nautilus was kind of that one of the final pickups to make sure you could lock something down, and it's working. Working very slowly. You're gonna try that pressure one more time. Contracts a little bit of damage, but nothing that's going to turn the team away. They ping towards mid lane with it being pushed up. Bot wave is going to have to get some respect from Fly again very soon. It looks like they may be setting up to engage this.
Yeah, they just got to keep moving around. No Baron this time, though, so the minions don't last nearly as long. That can be cleared away. Even so, as long as C9 can keep FlyQuest contained, they're in a pretty good spot.
That turret's gonna go down to these super minions. It just got pinged by Fly. Cloud9 knows those minions are gonna do work, so Impact tries to go in immediately. The team actually is getting routed by Fly and can't help him right away. Pings still in the base. That turret is almost down, and now FlyQuest has to retreat.
Yeah, it looked like Jensen tried to run around the corner, but couldn't quite get in range for the Chrono Shift. But as you mentioned, this could be an open Nexus if Moon can't quite back in time. He does. It's fine. Everyone calm down.
A slow heal now on the Nexus turret. Fly is trying to kind of say we can take the fights, but Cloud9 isn't stepping into them fast enough, so the amount of time Fly is spending outside their base is only costing them more HP. And I feel like Cloud9's starting to realize that if they want to stay for the fight, they'll make it even longer of a fight from the side of C9.
And even though they have the inhibitor up, Balls has to finish off that super minion and then get to Baron Pit if they want to be able to fight C9. Impact's going to be coming up. He's going to be walking towards that pit, and C9 should look to set up with a straightforward Impact initiation. Only if FlyQuest can start pushing C9 out of position, should they have a good chance here. It would have to be quite a play by FlyQuest to get something back here. C9 just want to set up a standard fight line, bait FlyQuest into Baron, and then run at them with Zillion speed and a Nautilus ultimate.
Flash away from Lemon Nation, both teams trading a bit. Oh, the bomb's coming through very strong onto Contract, and he goes very, very deep. High gets caught on the top side, can't get out of that one. Sneaky in the back is burning down, but still tries to deliver the poke in. Lemon Nation on Stranglethorns gets a big fight down. Cloud9 looking to end this one. Altec with the flash. They get onto Sneaky as he throws down the curtain call. Jensen trying to get the bombs in. Altec is just fancy footing every skill shot right now. Keeps himself alive to deliver the DPS. And FlyQuest comes out on top.
This miraculous team fighting by FlyQuest and impatience from C9 is keeping this game close. C9 does not wait for Impact to come in. Contracts has to get the Jensen ultimate for himself, and that opens the door for High to pressure in the backside. So really a well-played fight by FlyQuest, creating enough chaos to have C9 jump at an opportunity when they could have just waited for the standard play, and FlyQuest walk away for that 3 for 2.
What an intense game. Could it really change at this point? Everybody's got a part of the kill share. We'll see this fight again, but FlyQuest trying to get back in.
I mean,
make a good case of it.
Impact is in the middle of between the two turrets, and Moon just jumps away. Meanwhile, Contracts get bursted down, and High jumps to the backside, so everyone's looking at him, and yes, Impact bursts him down again, but watch Altec's bullet time right there gets a full channel. Impact doesn't want to continue walking up, and Altec also didn't have to use summoner spells before that, so he flashes into position, even though it's just Balls.
Summoner heal out of that.
Huge. They finish him off, sidesteps the dredge line, and that's some pretty impressive team fighting there from FlyQuest.
That was like Summoner heal Yomu's. He's got some spider fingers going on down there at NMF. 11 to 10, 31 minutes in. As I said before, the kill share is making this game even closer. Everybody with 2 or 3 on the side of Cloud9, so that money's coming in, as well as shared by Fly. So this game is on a knife's edge at this point, but for Cloud9 to take a fight, they could be right in the base for the win.
Yeah, and one thing that is slightly equalizing these fights is the fact that Balls is so fed on Maokai. And Jensen as a Zillion is a great blocker for the Zed, but doesn't have large amounts of damage, so there's not many people to actually kill the Maokai as he goes in again.
Looks pretty comfy on the front line, absorbing a whole lot of damage with vengeful Maelstrom on. Nobody's stepping in line for a double bomb. Looks like he may just give it to Balls. It is it on that one. Curtain call for bullet time, back and forth. The DPS ults from the AD carries are gone. and now they're in onto balls once more. It's been the full hit. Dredgeline just missing on High. He continues to pull him back. Lemon Nation is down as High goes in for the first time, finds the squishy target, but will he be able to get out? The next one comes up. Deadly Flourish into the hook, and High gets locked up. Fly is just getting back to their base, and Cloud9 looking to push the waves once again. These fights aren't really coming up with any results other than kills right now.
Yeah, these fights are evolving with the game. You can see the patience now happening from Cloud9 as Impact just sits in front, and they slowly but surely whittle away on balls after getting this Drake. They do not want to overcommit into a bullet time or mouth call, and they know that they generally win the front-to-front team fight. So they're waiting, they're eating through the Misfortune ultimate, and they're just eventually going to get him down, they think. But if they take too many spears, they're in trouble, and then High just has to bide his time. He sees the dredge line go down, he sees his opportunity, bursts smoothly before Jensen can get off an ultimate onto anyone, and then you can't dodge everything because they're just throwing so many skill shots at him. Finally, Sneaky finds him with Deadly Flourish, and C9 wins the fight, 2 for 1, as well as the Infernal Drake. Now they rush Baron as High just respawn.
Moon has a pretty tough route in. High very far away with a flash down, but the spears could be quite scary here. They give respect to that. Cloud9 backs off, and they say it was worth a try. We just didn't have the timing. It's going to be a push here by Fly, but C9 will be able to get back to the mid lane. Oh, no, they won't. I didn't see balls coming in to stop them on the side lane, so nice movement.
Flashes in,
but Moon just got crushed on the back line as well. They can't really follow him up. Jensen's low, double bomb out. Sneaky and Smoothie are down with the trade of Lemon Nation, and we're gonna see Jensen getting killed here by High. Throws down the chrono. He's gonna pop, and it is the double kill coming in for High as he goes down valiantly. They're on to Impact. That's the ace for FlyQuest.
FlyQuest keeps showing up in these team fights. How are they doing it? They're able to get the bullet time that eviscerates C9 as a team. They kill both the backline and forced out the Zillion ultimate. A 5-for-2. They're going to get the Baron and have a gold lead, Riv.
Absolutely ridiculous how relentless FlyQuest is. Just a few minutes ago, their Nexus turret was going down and they were choosing to not clear the base. It seems to have been the right call after all to keep the pressure on the map and continue to pressure Cloud9. It was a fight in the top lane that started to swing it, and they continue here now to the mid.
And I have to credit Altec for positioning in these fights. Moon gets hit by a double bomb, but then Altec, look at this bullet time. Unreal damage. And then I think it was Deathfire touch Misfortune if I checked the Keystone Masteries, and that ticks him out at the end of it. And here, watch High. Finally able to work around something with Zed, knows the ultimate's on Jensen, waits until, doesn't proc the corner shift, knows the death mark's gonna do it, gets the double kill, and then they run down Impact at the end of the fight. Just exceptional play there by FlyQuest against the odds, pulling out these team fights.
The calls are starting to roll in, and Cloud9 is behind each other on them. We heard High, it may be a bad call, maybe a good call, but the team is always behind each other. And even with Moon going down to about 20% health there, the fight was completely engaged still by FlyQuest.
Yeah.
Cloud9 back out, try to get some wards and get themselves back. Oh no, not back into the game. It's very even now.
Yeah, really insane.
Back into a fight.
What's happening? I mean, Sneaky now finally having Last Whisper, but you can see the sustained damage of Jensen, even though they had that massive team fighting advantage with all the CC to knock down High. If they're not able to get contracts as Kazakhs or Impact's Nautilus ultimate onto Altec, it really feels like that bullet time is just cutting through everyone on the team. And somehow with the Nidalee Zed, not known as your team fighting jungler and mid laner, FlyQuest is coming back through team fighting against Cloud9.
High can now add a little bit of pressure to the side lanes. More options here for FlyQuest. Still, inhibitor open on the bot side. Not really going to get too much love now that all the waves are pushed up. So Cloud9 has a little bit of cleaning to do around the house before they can make sure they have that advantage to push up one more time. A lost fight would really mean Fly inside the base and possibly the game.
Yeah, and with the Baron, the Zed split push actually becomes threatening again. Guardian Angel as well, to make it so he gets to stick around in these fights where oftentimes C9 is just kind of bursting out and then walking through them with Nautilus. C9 still wants to team fight generally the same way. They just have to find a way of getting onto Altec and not getting baited by what look like easy kills onto someone like Moon.
Pings onto High. Trying to initiate. High still delivering some damage from the side with his shadow. Knows that bot lane is going to be pushing pretty nicely, so they can work with that in just a few. He's still going to go tend to it. Give it a little trim. 2 dragons to each team with 30 seconds left on the Elder Dragon, and they share the same dragons.
Exactly, it's insane. And also Moon now with all this AP, if he's able to land one of these spears onto a squishy target, it could be pushing them off of Elder Drake because that puts them in execute range. So he's just throwing these, and C9's dodging all of them. As soon as one lands, though, it could be incredibly impactful.
Contracts meeting up with High in the jungle for a bit of damage. The tanks there giving each other a little bit of love as no engage come from the anchor toss of Impact. And here the split push begins. They send at least Jensen down, the fastest clear they have for these.
High doesn't have the Baron buff. He was dead when they got it, so Jensen trying to zoom forward a little bit. Unable to proc the GA, and because of Moon's blue buff and large amounts of AP, he can heal High up. Elder Drake up. FlyQuest might actually be forcing C9 into them. Gotta be careful about that Elder Drake damage as it does add up. C9 is conceding.
High around the side, he almost can't. You know you're gonna lose one if they get Elder, the 4 members with that, or actually 5 members with that. They're gonna be huge.
C9 doesn't have the vision, and they don't want to face check into a Misfortune Ultimate and a Malzahar, so they're very cleverly trying to sneak in. Now Impact's in. Elder Drake's still at 5,000. They want to fight.
Should be all right. Ball's in the front line. The GA's on. Altec tries to get the side position for a bullet time, but they're not close enough yet. It's just Impact in the DPS if he were to fire it off. Sneaky takes his chance, but very low on mana to deliver anything but auto attacks from here on out. And Balls is taking a lot of damage. Oh my god, Altec and Moon get absolutely wiped out. They're going for Balls now. They're going to be able to drop him possibly. The GA to res there. Lemon Nation is out of the fight. And what a hit FlyQuest takes as Cloud9 slowly walks themselves in for a fight win.
Slowly but surely, as you say, Impact just got closer and closer and eventually got into range to catch out Altec, and that is not where FlyQuest wanted their bullet time to be. He gets destroyed by the Zillion bombs as well as the Kha'Zix jumping in. That's Elder Drake for C9, and they reestablish control.
Exactly the type of matchup we were looking for.
What a game.
Which side will win the battle? Let's see this fight again.
Yeah, I mean, Balls take so much damage just being in front as the rest of FlyQuest are trying to land an Italy Spear, hoping for C9 to go in. And no one wants to overcommit. That's why they're being so patient in this fight. But Impact gets the dredge line onto Altec. Altec had hide behind that wall the whole time. That's immediately followed up by Smoothie's ultimate. High does manage to sneak in the back and just catch Smoothie there, which does kind of hurt C9's ability to kill the Elder Drake very quickly, but now we got about 2 minutes left of this Elder Drake, an open inhibitor, 1 Nexus turret, and Baron up within the duration of Elder Drake. So a big power play here for C9.
They just gave it a ping on the bot side. High making sure that wave stays very clear. All the way up past mid. Looks like they're going to push down the mid lane here, then be able to rotate down towards that bot side with this Elder Drake. Anybody that stands in their way is going down, so Fly has to stand as a team to make sure this works. Flash down for Smoothie. We saw a pretty good Stranglethorn engage there as he locked everybody up in the last one. Mainly the reason High was able to get him. But now, that's kind of the trade that FlyQuest sees themselves finding. 1 in, 1 out, and Cloud9 starting to come out on top of those trades. Top lane being pushed in by Impact. Looks like mid lane for the rest of the members of C9.
Exactly, and C9 also can't let go of their control once again, because 15 minutes ago they had complete control of this game, but they kind of let FlyQuest creep back into it. They have to be more patient this time. They have the Elder Drake right now. They're waiting the 20 seconds for the Baron respawn, and then you would think they would slowly walk up for the push that they were trying to do 12 minutes ago. They go a little early here because they see High in the mid lane, which is smart, still having that Elder Drake, and this is when FlyQuest definitely does not want to fight them.
Shrine is up. They have everything in their favor here. It would be a very difficult fight. FlyQuest is going to say we can stave off the Baron push.
Yeah, exactly. FlyQuest does not want to contest this Baron because Elder Drake is still up, and if they lose a fight here, the game is completely over. They're hoping to either trade a turret on the side for that Baron, or just to not lose directly at Baron. I should be able to get this before going back, although Jensen's potentially going to be persistent on this chase. Now it's going to be all about people going back, getting the elixirs and just arming up for this final fight.
There's also hardly any inventory space for control wards to come through here. It's all about what your trinket is. We only see a few spots left open as these final recipes are being completed. Very, very tense here, 42 minutes in. 18-17. We know fights at this time can turn either way.
C9 wants impact in front, potentially the next minion wave, and then they want to get the turret slowly. If FlyQuest ever tries to initiate is when C9 can turn. Remember the last fight where they get onto Altec? That is enemy number 1 for C9 because he alone, if he gets the right bullet time off, can take down 4 members of Cloud9 with that bullet time. Everyone who's not a super take like Impact. So they're going back to get that minion wave, trying to get it to base. Surprising they're going here instead of the open inhibitor, but they think if they can open this, they get at least 2, maybe the game. There's the bullet time.
Still in front, sneaky low. Contracts Edge of Night just on the side. And here comes High. Will he be able to find his way back? It's about 3 members with a bit of AoE from the Shurikens. And they are able to kind of hold the Baron. It seems like they made that right choice. They just can't make a single error here. That turret's still going low. They may have to concede it after all.
Exactly, and they force a recall attempt by Impact, who is going to teleport back in. They don't have an Ocean Drake, so the regen's not great, but it's still decent this late into the game. They're going back in for more. Teleport onto the minion so the turret can't go down, but they're kind of held back by High. Here we go. Oh, they get Lemon.
Lemon's the focus. Depth charge dredge line. Contracts actually gets out. Doesn't want to show himself right there. He would have been the focus. Got to remember, Lemon still has that ultimate. High doing great damage from the outside. Inhibitor goes down. Remember now, those are going to be super minions pouring in. Bot lane's push, so they're going to head for top as they try to do more damage to FlyQuest base.
Yeah, trying to break all the turrets, even though there is an explosion inhibitor. They don't think there's a defense for FlyQuest. They are right here, so they get it, but they don't have the inhibitor yet, and Fly is constantly trying to find that flank.
Look at Contracts being such a bait. He's saying, take me out. But that's the GA. High can't waste his skills on that for even a second, unless the team is behind him.
Bullet time is back up, as is the Nethergrass for Lemon Nation. If C9 do try to overcommit, the positioning is paramount for this fight.
Youmuu's goes off, they're onto Lemon Nation. Nethergrass isn't gonna do much to Impact. Smoothie low, they get onto High. It's gonna be a hit there. High keeps himself alive, a sliver of health coming back. GA, a good shot from the curtain call, and they're onto Moon. They're onto Altec. Oh, Altec can take down Contracts. One more shot, but Contracts gets the swing of the claw. Moon's next. He gets himself out, and Contracts comes back up on the GA as well. Wanting himself to go down. Cloud9 inside the base in FlyQuest. It's looking grim.
It's just the one turret. High back from base. He's going.
Goes to the backside, able to get sneaky down. They are definitely going to have to worry about him. Contracts won't be able to step up to the turret. They live for a little bit longer.
So Balls actually got run down on the backside by Jensen. That is so critical. Jensen's ultimate is back up as well. There's very little High can do.
It's going to be Cloud9 onto the Nexus, putting themselves goal side to the fountain. What a 2 matches coming out. The slugfest from C9 and FlyQuest, but Cloud9 will stand tall and hold the #1 spot in the North American LCS.
And what a series that was, Rib. The beginning of an epic rivalry between FlyQuest and Cloud9. We had questions about whether or not FlyQuest could stand toe-to-toe with the top teams in the North American LCS. And I feel like even though they did not close out this series against Cloud9, they answered that they absolutely can. And Cloud9, to their credit, stayed undefeated in series.
And these guys have to know, even after a loss, not even a disappointing loss, a very hard-fought loss, that they'll most likely be meeting each other down the road at the end of the season, because not many teams have shown that much back and forth to test each other.
Yeah, and you can see the hugs coming through, especially to the former teammates in these games. A lot of camaraderie between these teams. And this series,
brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got a hug.
Not only was this series epic and close in 3 games in a battle for first place, it's also so memorable. The massive delays we had in the middle of the series, the epic near comeback we saw in Game 3, the actual epic comeback we saw in Game 1 by Cloud9. This series had a little bit of everything.
It leaves a lot of hearts filled for the Cloud9 fans, but as well as FlyQuest. You cannot be disappointed with that game if you are a fan. The loss is going to hurt, but you, like I said, you see this team moving on, and the second half of the split looks very bright for both teams. Jensen coming out with that victory. He said, I replaced this guy. I should be able to beat him.
Yeah, well, he did, but it was close. You could definitely see why both of the players have the argument, and it almost looked like a combination of happiness and relief from Cloud9 right there, because they really did not want to lose that game. You could see, even though there is a lot of friendship in this matchup, that they wanted this game more than they did any other game previous to this split.
Business is business, Jack. You're not friends on the Rift. But no, looking back at the mid lane, we actually did see a solo kill, but it was already out of lane. Jensen pretty handily took the CS in each lane, was able to control that. High worked, as he does, more around the outside of the map. So in that matchup, we definitely see how both of those guys play at their top.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you were to pull the CS at 15 for the series, Jensen would be up by a landslide. For most part, especially in that Zilean game with the counter pick, right? High pick Zed because he really wanted to be on a playmaker with a lot of threat. I'd say that pick didn't work out. Imagine that game, since it just became a team fighting match. If he had Corki, probably gives him much better front-to-front team fighting capabilities. But, you know, he went for the home run, and that's what High is always going to do. And I can't wait to see that matchup again.
Absolutely ridiculous. Let's just have it next week, whatever. For a first-hand account on that back-and-forth series, let's hear from Pastry and Cloud9's mid laner.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Jensen after a grueling series versus FlyQuest. I have to ask you, how are you feeling? Because that seemed pretty exhausting.
Yeah, the last game was especially exhausting, and I think FlyQuest played really well, so it was much harder than I actually expected. So it was a rough series, so props to them.
Well, of course, well played to you guys. You stay undefeated, which may have been unexpected for you. But I have to ask just in general, did you expect High to be such a difficult opponent? You played with him on teams for so long. You know what he's like as a leader and a shot caller, but as a player, I mean, obviously I know you're quite good. So what were your thoughts moving in kind of in the 1v1?
High actually surprised me. He played a lot better than I expected, so huge props to High. I think his laning phase is definitely underrated. I think he's overall a really good player, and his laning phase has definitely improved, so a lot of props to him.
So with that in mind, do you feel like you clapped him sufficiently?
I wouldn't really say it was clapped, but I mean, we won, so that's good.
I guess he'll take it. Final question for you, Jensen. I know C9's been through kind of a lot of different changes in the last year and a half or so. Infrastructure changes, team changes, and of course, I think you're stepping up more as a voice in the team. How has that experience been for you, trying to be more of a leader from the mid lane, in addition to being such a great player?
It's pretty natural, I'd say, since, you know, we used to play with High, so I didn't really say much back then, but then now I have to take a bigger role in the team, especially when we play a lot of these 1-3-1 comps and split push comps. Especially, it's important that the mid laner or the split pushers are very vocal. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of given to the role. Like, if you play mid lane and you split push a lot and such, you need to be vocal in the team. But it's been pretty natural to me. It's not really something that bothers me or anything.
Well, congratulations on the win today. A very long series, but a deserved win nonetheless for Cloud9. We are going to shoot it back to Freak and the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Pastry Chime. We are here to talk about primarily differences in execution. Of course, we all know Cloud9 won, and hey, they're still undefeated, good for them. But I want to kind of jump right into what happens when you play things right versus what happens when you play things wrong. And when the replay comes up, we're going to talk about the before and after of the pre and post remake. This is the before version. Now note that it's invisible, it does full damage, but Lemonation didn't actually use his Void Links, so he just kind of gets popped and it gets turned around. And then we're going to see the after version where he does press W and it looks much better.
Yeah, exactly. And the Voidlings actually add a ridiculous amount of damage for the support ult, Malzahar. So double Voidlings, flash ult, the Voidlings are hitting throughout the entire one. That was the difference in the remake kill. Not only that, but it meant, okay, so they don't die, they get a kill, they get first turret, right? These are all things that change between the two plays. And just that small little thing where he executed properly in the second game completely changed the outcome of that fight and could have completely changed the outcome of the game.
I don't think it's an understatement to say that, because they were losing a number of plays all over the map. And if that one gets turned, they don't get first turret, they probably lose first turret, and that's a huge gold swing on top of just the kills you're giving up.
Yeah, and just to clarify for those watching online, in the before version, the Misfortune ult did deal damage. It was invisible, which is why the remake was called. If that wasn't clarified for all you guys out there, that is the reason. Did deal damage, was invisible. That was enough to cause the remake. And obviously then execution went better. You know, FlyQuest kind of advantaged by the remade state, but that is kind of to talk about what went down.
They certainly were advantaged from it. It didn't end up mattering, but you know, to that point, it's basically the MF ult would have been very problematic for C9 throughout the rest of the game, right? So even if the remake in that in specific instance disadvantaged them, look how much damage it was doing. And if you couldn't even see that thing in the late game, it would have been killing your whole team. So unfortunately, there had to be a remake, but obviously they did in this case.
Yeah, so you can push through to then the other half execution, which is team fighting around Misfortune. I know in my solo queue games, you run in and say, GG can't beat MF, but this is C9 doing it right, kiting out Misfortune and never grouping up and giving her the range.
Well, the big thing is with Zillion Bombs and Zyra plants, you have a lot of tools to zone the follow-up from FlyQuest. So even though Balls is trying to frontline as best he can, the rest of his team really can't walk for any kind of follow-up. Altec does a good idea of hiding in the brush, trying to channel an ultimate, but he's not quite patient enough, waiting for the rest of C9 to approach behind Impact. So he channels his ult too soon. That triggers Impact to focus him, knock him up, cancel that ultimate. And that really is the key team fighting tool for FlyQuest. Without the MF ult shredding a number of champions on C9 side, it's very hard for FlyQuest to take a fight.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as the MF ulti is down, C9 can actually fully engage to the fight, right? Their members can move forward. They can group up without the fear of that retribution from the MF. But if it's used properly, it can be a very different story.
Yeah, and of course, anytime Altec screws up, he just gets caught by a dredge line, instantly dies, even if you got a spell shield from Luden's Echo turns it off. So we can watch the other side of that, where C9 don't respect it, and lo and behold, obviously Misfortune deals 1.5 million damage.
Right, and the scary thing is you see the Malzahar flash ulting Jensen, and Jensen gets a great double bomb to zone the follow-up from Moon or anything, and from here they can back up, but they instead try to chase in because they were able to live through that initial engage out of FlyQuest, so I think they're out of the woods, but because they're respecting the Malzahar ult and not the MF ult, when they step back in, they get shredded and blown up, which then gives Hai the ability to go in and start causing trouble as well.
Yeah, and Hai played this super well, has to be pointed out. He goes forward, forcing the ultimate from Jensen, and then actually times his death mark so that it will kill off Jensen after the ultimate. So that was a nice little mini play there. But yeah, just not respecting the MF ult damage. Like, the difference in team fights is ridiculous.
Yep.
And the second one, C9 was actually more ahead and still got blasted like that, because that ultimate can kill your entire team if they actually do get stuck in it.
And even if they do make that mistake, you see that on the side of FlyQuest, they still need to play team fights out well after that. Like, Hai can't just go in and go on the first target he sees because there's the Zillion ult still there waiting. So overall, I think both teams had different moments in this game where they played fights well or not. I think the last one where they got the Elder Dragon on the side of C9 was a great example of them playing it really, really well, because they were able to bait out balls where he's just tanking the Elder Dragon and unable to actually get a pick on anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Player of the game, of course, honors go to Jensen, but we're going to first send it down to the blue side for an interview with FlyQuest mid laner.
Thanks, Freak. I'm here with another interview, of course. Hi, thank you for joining me despite the loss versus Cloud9. An incredibly close, dramatic series. What are your initial thoughts just kind of coming off the Rift?
Well, I felt like we should have won. Game 1, we're up like, 6,000, 7,000, but then we kind of outplayed ourselves. Game 3 is really interesting because, we have that bug bottom. We have to do the remake of 20 seconds back. And it was a really close game. Like, if they didn't get that first Baron, I feel like we'd have won that game because we were playing team fights really well, but it was a hard game.
It certainly wasn't. Coming into this series, did you expect to have such a close series versus Cloud9? Obviously, they look to be the favorites in the league, still undefeated and just having such a strong showing, but your team has been very surprising. Did you think it was going to be close?
Well, I expected us to win, Obviously, I go into the game thinking I would win, but I imagined if we did win, it'd only be like a 2-1. They are a good team, so I wasn't expecting to dominate them or anything.
Well, I have to say, FlyQuest do look like a good team as well. I'm sure we've met a lot of fans throughout the weeks, and especially after that series. I want to kind of move it out a little bit more now and just ask you, you do get to play them again in 2 weeks. How are you feeling about the potential rematch, given how close this series was?
I would hope Jensen picks an assassin next time instead of, 3 backline mages. Seems kind of scared, but, it'd be fun if I get to do like Zed versus Fizz, or he does that and I do LeBlanc or Fizz. I think that'd be really fun, but obviously you should play trying to win, and like he did really well in Zillion in that game, so.
I know a lot of people in general have a lot of good things to say about you as a leader, but what do you think of your teammates? Because they've had a lot of positive words to say for you, but it seems like you're surrounded by a pretty great team as well.
Well, every part of a team is as important as another. Like, I wouldn't be able to do the things we do in game if my team was bad. Like, if they can't do the calls I ask, if I can't trust them to do what they're supposed to, it's not going to work out, right? So even though I'm making like these very interesting macro plays, it only works out if they're good. Like, if they're pushing up mid and get killed, then that's really bad, but I need to trust them that they can do that, and they can. So it's a team effort,
It makes sense. And just to ask you one last thing, FlyQuest have just done so well, probably better than maybe you guys expected, but certainly better than public perception was. How far can FlyQuest go, given that you played Cloud9 very close? Are you going to take the #1 spot? We'll certainly see you in playoffs at this point. What's the ceiling like for FlyQuest?
Let's say they got lucky this game, this set. We'll just say they got lucked out, but obviously we're going to go to the top. I want to stay where we are right now. We played P1 yesterday. We did well. We played C9 today, and we did really well. Good versus them. I wanted to win, and we're really close to it, but we can't. So then these next 2 weeks, we have hard matches too, and I expect us to play our heart out and hope we can stay at the top.
It seems like you guys always do that. Thank you very much for the interview. Hi, maybe a little bit better luck next time versus Cloud9. Thank you again for joining me despite the loss. Now we're going to go back to Freak to close out the day.